Wonderful. Let's go ahead and get started because this is only a 30-minute speedy meeting or less than. So a couple of points. The first thing right off the bat is we're going into 13 a little heavy. Let me share my screen. So on the agenda, I've indicated just a high-level summary of what we have for backend and front end by workflow labels. So I'm wondering if anybody has any issues which are in dev or in review, any of these here that you think are not going to require much dev work at all, are almost done, that sort of thing, please let me know, because I'm looking to pull a couple of issues out for both front end and back end to make sure that we're successful. And I want to know how much I need to pull out. Basically, how much of these 18 in back end are pretty much complete. So I shouldn't take them towards the total, and how many of the 13 are pretty much complete.
I think for in review, you can assume there's not much work there. So yeah, for in dev, we may need to dig into them, but yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing is, I find myself having a hard time distinguishing which of the issues, like as the team digs into bigger issues and they make kind of sub issues that they need for these big initiatives that we have, I'm having a hard time figuring out if those sub issues are urgent, if they need to be done in the current milestone, if they could be scheduled in the next or in a future. So I would just ask that as we create those issues, either put a note that basically says, this is not urgent, or use a severity label or something to just note to me that this needs to be placed in the current milestone or in the next one, or it can be placed out 3 milestones from now, that sort of thing.
When you say those issues are being created, are they just automatically assigned the current milestone?
They're not assigned a milestone. So I'll just give an example. Tyler, as he's digging into SeatLink or to the automated billing, he's creating all these smaller issues of things that need to happen. And it's mostly behind the scenes kind of stuff. And I don't really know, is that something that has to be completed in the current milestone, or is that just a reminder for him for later, and he's not the only, everybody does this, which I think is completely valid. And I just don't know from a planning perspective, do we need this? Is it a blocker for this big issue, or is it just follow up?
Yeah, I think probably engineers should ping you if they don't know, like if whether they should tackle that or not. Sometimes they create those follow up issues because they just want to split the work, which means that those should be in the same milestone. But other times they just create it because they found like something that may need to be done later, but they can't put a milestone because they don't know the priorities, of course. So I think what we may want to mention to the engineers is to make sure that the EMs and the PM just sort of from under get pinged on those issues, so we can sort of prioritize it.
Yeah, and I feel fine if engineers know that particular issue needs to be completed in the current milestone because it's dependent. I would be fine with them actually indicating the milestone themselves. Does that bother you?
No, I think that makes sense. I think obviously, if that particular issue has a weight that is really big, I think the engineers will definitely ping us on that one, because then it means that that will change priorities maybe or something. It depends how big it is.
Okay, cool.
The one thing to also mention here is that sometimes engineers may work on something really small that maybe might not be worth an issue, but they may create an issue anyway. And I think those ones that they may want to work on the same milestone, those should be fine. Like those that have like a weight of 1 that may take like a couple of hours for them. I think we encourage in general in development engineers to deliver those anyway, and we can add into the same milestone.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. Yeah, if it's not necessarily a blocker, but it's such a quick piece of work and it's related to what you're doing anyway, totally fine. And go ahead and put the current milestone on that. But for stuff that's like a reminder, we need to do this next milestone or in the next 2 to 3 milestones, let's have the engineers ping me and just let me know the priority, and then I'll put it in the upcoming milestone. Cool. Thank you. Highlight here that we have the deliverable label is back. So what we're trying to do is kind of disregard the priority labels, because those are used for planning to which milestone it should be in, not priority of work within the milestone. So when we look at the planning board, the issue board, we will see that the issues are in priority order. I still have them in priority order, but where the deliverable label is mentioned, that's something that we really want to get out in the milestone. So if anything has to slip, it should be something that doesn't have the deliverable label, essentially. I'm trying to make the deliverable label a smaller percent of what we've been seeing. This milestone, unfortunately, it's a little bit larger because we brought a big one over as well. And so moving forward, we're aiming for a smaller percent there, but looking for a good mix of deliverable, feature, bug, as well as work that the engineers can pick themselves. Okay.
Amanda, quick question.
Yeah,
I do see deliverable and I also see growth deliverable. Is there any difference between the two?
Great question. Yeah, growth deliverable is essentially our OKR label. Other groups are using like the label OKR. The growth team is using the label growth deliverable to mean that this work goes towards our quarterly OKRs. And so we can pull that to measure how we delivered. Deliverable is specific to within the milestone things that we want to deliver. Good question. All right, and then I also created a label called Affect Salesforce. Anytime that label is on, which right now I will manually apply, but in the future James will automate, which yay, would be awesome. If that's on during MR review, you want to ping Jack Brennan for review so that he can sign off that our work hasn't unintentionally broken Salesforce or done anything that he didn't expect. All right, so those were the only agenda points. I can go over the actual work, but I'll pause to see if anybody has any questions first.
One of the things related to this is that we have to see how this works out, the pinging Jack on the merge requests. Normally, we don't expect reviewers to take too long and get back to the merge requests and review them. So I know Jack is quite busy, and having just a single person to do this, it may happen that we may want to reconsider this and maybe change this slightly to perhaps create a follow-up issue for Jack to review later on or something like that. But I'm happy to just keep it as it is now. I added this to the merge request template for engineers to be aware of, and then we'll see what happens. But if the review times are affected, then we should definitely do it in a different way.
Yeah, and I had that concern myself, because just from a requirements perspective, when I ping Jack, sometimes it takes a few days to get an answer because he is so busy. And I actually basically said that to him, and he said for MR reviews that he will guarantee a same or next day response so that he's not slowing us down. So it's definitely something to keep our eye on. And I think maybe if we go through a milestone or two and it's going well, great. If it's not, then yeah, let's try a different process. And I just want to point out that I will be applying the label to the issue. So if MRs are made related to the issue, make sure that you're looking at the label at the issue level. All right. So we'll take a quick look here at the board. I just moved work over from 1210. So if there's stuff here that shouldn't be here that you think should be closed out, let me know. In the open, I'm working with legal to update terms as a result of the quarterly billing. So that's what this is. It's not coming into any of your lanes. And then some sales collateral. So don't worry about that. Okay, so the quarterly billing is still in process, and we had a late change. So I expect that would cause more work there. Although I think this is still showing as blocked. but I don't know why. So maybe we can just look into why that's, yeah. Is there actually a blocker? And then this is all related work. So this is letting the users know about the charge coming up, giving them, this is an email, this is a banner. Okay, so here's the new work. So the new work for this milestone is the customers portal customization for resellers. This is a whole rework of basically how the customers portal reacts to the data it receives from Zuora. So the TLDR here is if Zuora passes a flag, which Jack has a related issue for, and I told him, if you don't get the work done, that's fine. Just tell us what the flag will be so we can code for it. So if Zuora passes a flag, instead of provisioning the customer's portal in the customer's name, which is what we do today, provision it in the invoice customer or the invoice account name and contact details. So that's a big change. The license will continue to go to the customer, so no change on the license app. It's just on the customer's portal. And reach out to me with any clarification questions on that one. Okay, future dated licenses. So this is the early renewal. Basically, if today for self-managed, if somebody renews 30 days early, they get the license 30 days early and they load it 30 days early, it will become available immediately. It will give those entitlements on the day you load it, regardless of the start date. This prevents that. So Tyler already spec'd this and found a much easier way of handling this than what I was suggesting, which I'm super happy about. And basically it's just going to the job that's saying, which license should I use right now? And instead of just using whatever is the most recent loaded, use the one that has the proper start date. I need you to deal with that, please. And then the next one is SeatLink data being made available to sales. So we're waiting for some information back from Jack on this one. But what he has suggested is that we just pass the SeatLink data to Zuora, and then he's going to take it and make it available in an object in Salesforce or something. So whoever takes this one, please don't be afraid to reach out to Jack. He's put several comments. He actually had a related issue. Where is it? Here. So he had a related issue, which I closed as a duplicate, but he essentially stated how it should work in this issue. So if you're not sure, reach out to him and copy me so I can stay on top of him. All right. It's okay, I'll fix it. Thank you. WebDirects, this is a new bug that was just found, and it's a pretty big priority. I'm gonna have a hard time figuring out what to take out of this milestone because we have a lot of really important work. So this is a new bug. It's not sending, oh, this is not a bug. This is actually a feature, I think. Hold on, I'm looking. No, this is a bug. It's not sending data that they need to, I think, to create their opportunities properly. There's a handful of different flavors of those issues. This one is for Vincian team. This is a blocker for her team to be able to do end-to-end testing. So I don't really understand the issue too much. I'm going to be completely transparent, but I understand that it's not a big issue. It's weighted as 2, and so this would be a great quick win for somebody looking for a small piece of work to pick up. Okay, SKUs for Open Virtual Classroom. So this is essentially a new service that we're going to start selling. So Ragnar heads up on a new SKU that we're going to have to make sure we build into how we're displaying so that it doesn't go into the unknown pile. But basically the work for this is to take the SKU that's being created in Zuora and make it available in Customers Portal the way that it should be available. It's not a subscription. It should be an add-on service, and we should consider how it should look when it's sold by itself, because you could not be a subscriber to a plan and also attend this virtual classroom. Aggregate data. This one is a big one coming up in the next milestone. So this is just research to figure out how to do it. It would be ideal if we could actually get it in this milestone though. So this is for the quarterly billing in self-managed. Basically, we're going to start billing them for overages, but we want to be able to tell them, oh, you can go here. Oh, I know. I'm sorry. This is not the proof. This is for the folks who are air gapped that we cannot bill. Basically, it's going to take all the data that we're sending to us in SeatLink, and it should serve it up in such a way that the user can export it and give it to the salesperson to be able to bill them. But it shouldn't be editable. They should not be able to change any of the data. So I don't know if it needs to be encrypted. I think some salespeople gave us some feedback in the engineering issue that, like, I don't know, something about security. It's not here. Oh, here. Yeah, so take a look at his concerns there. So basically, this is a research issue to investigate what's the best solution for this, and then create small issues, as small of issues as possible for the work. And again, the work is currently in 13.1. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the rest of these. You guys, sorry, you all can take a look at that. Those are the high priority ones in back end. On the front end, we have some companion stuff here, the banner message. This is work so that the automated billing doesn't break the renewal process. So at renewal, we should not allow people to use the auto renew feature if they're not sending us SeatLink data. We're no longer doing true ups for anybody sending us SeatLink. So we basically have to trick the system and bill the true up at 0 with the proper count so that the license doesn't break. The reason why we're not changing the license behavior is because for anybody who doesn't engage with us and send us their details quarterly, either automated or sales assisted, we are going to use the old process of true ups. So the license app is still going to work that way. This is some more quarterly stuff. And then the rest of this is pajamas and other kind of random. I think we're trying to do some cleanup here, but being over, if anybody, especially Chris, if you have anything in this list that you would say, hey, this is low priority, that we can move out to make it more comfortable for the team, let me know. UX, I don't think I have anybody on the call, but I'll do a quick highlight. So Emily's tackling the UX for these 3 issues. Each of these issues are in the dev work for these issues are in the future milestone. From now on, I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to give UX their design specs a milestone before, so that when engineering gets the issue, they've got the design and they don't have to wait for it. And they don't have to wonder, when is it going to deliver? And then we have some other stuff here that I think we have to see if it's going to stay in or not. And then quality, yay, is helping out. So quality is going to help with mapping of the kind of end-to-end process, as well as I think we have another one in the back end that they're going to help out with depending upon when it comes up. I think it is, it's the hooking the staging environment, I believe.
Yes.
Cool. So depending upon when that one comes up to engineering's plate, we want the engineer who picks the hookup, the Salesforce instance, to ping Vinci to see if Chloe's up and running and ready to start looking and shadowing on some work. If so, then she will shadow. Also, I think that she'll start looking at this mapping, taking what Jamie started with and starting to fill in those gaps. So that'll be super helpful.
Yeah, this mapping one probably would be me at this point, working with Jamie. For Chloe, she joined last week, so I would not really assume her to be at full capacity this month with this particular milestone. That being said, yes, please ping Chloe when developer picks up the initial ticket so then they can pair program and she will have a better understanding of what all this is. That would be easier way for her to ramp up on customer portal and Zora and Salesforce and everything.
Awesome.
Thank
All
you.
right, so that's a quick summary of the work that's in there. Again, I'm gonna go in and look for work to take out. So if there's anything, Chris or James, that you see that's like technical debt or stuff that I pulled in to try and clean up some stuff that isn't urgent, let me know that those are candidates to pull out. I'm gonna look for bigger things too, but okay, thank you. But sorry, so a quick side note. For some reason, my 4-year-old school has decided it's a good idea to do daily online classes that he has to attend. 4-year-old. Yeah. So I put the 8-year-old in charge of it, and he's having a panic attack that he has to do this. Okay, sorry. So yeah, so let me know if there's anything you want to take out. I'm going to keep looking at this today to see what I can take out. And if, I don't know if there's any questions I can answer while we're still live. No? All right, well, I will let you all go. I will link this recording to the agenda for the rest of the folks. Oh, I didn't go through the planning issue, but it's pretty self-explanatory in terms of the things I wanted to highlight. I already talked about those. One thing I would just say, again, I think that we're saying this a lot and can't be said enough. Take time for yourself. If you feel like you need to take some time off, just plan with your manager so that we can cover, but don't feel like, I saw a comment that somebody couldn't attend the social call last week because they felt some pressure. Don't let that happen. If you feel the pressure, walk away, do something fun. I don't know, but nobody wants that for anybody. So put some time off in the calendar. If you don't have any scheduled, please do. Don't forget the 23rd is the contribute for the company. So if you can contribute to that, that's awesome. And May 1st is a company-wide day off. So make sure you're taking that time for yourselves and your families as well. All right. Thank you, everybody. Sorry for the rushed call. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Amanda.
Bye.
Bye.